Hello students, welcome to today's session on factorization of polynomial. So students, today in the previous, you might have watched my previous lecture. We have discussed about the introduction to polynomial, classification of the polynomial, zeros of polynomial. Now we'll be reading about the factorization of the polynomial, where we'll read about the factor theorem and the remainder theorem. Now for this thing, students, the topic will be factorization of polynomial. Factorization of polynomial. But before that, you need to understand what do you mean by factor and what do you mean by multiple and what do you mean by the remainder. Now student, suppose if we'll take one number, and the number will be, first of all, we will take the numeric value and then we will take the polynomial value. So if I'll take one example, that suppose I am dividing 25 by 4. Suppose I am dividing 25 by 4. Then what do you mean by this 25 by 4? The final answer I'll be getting is something which is 6. And so if I'll divide this, I'll be getting 6 is to 1 by 4. 6 is to 1 by 4. So there are few things you might know about this thing. First of all, what do you mean by 25? What do you mean by 25? So 25 is nothing but over here, this will be the dividend. Then what is 4? 4 over here will be nothing but it is a divisor. Then what about the quotient? Quotient over here will be 6 is to 1 by 4 is quotient, or 6. 6, only 6. So 6 is the quotient. And over here, the remainder will be 1. 1 is the remainder. Now that means that dividend is always is equals to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Now in the same way, if we'll solve the variable, now if we'll solve one polynomial, now suppose if we are dividing example 3y cube plus y square plus y by y. Now whenever we are dividing this thing, we will be getting the answer which is 3y square plus y, isn't it? 3y square plus y plus 1. You don't see any remainder over here, right? That means the divisor is completely dividing the dividend, isn't it? So now we need to know about the, what do you mean by the factor and the multiple? What do you mean by the factor and the multiple? Suppose taking the example of 12. Now with which value 12 can be divided and the remainder will be 0. Suppose if I'll be dividing the 12 with 1 is always a factor, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. So the factor of 12 will be these. factor of 12 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And this will be the factors. And what do you mean by the multiple? Multiple. So the multiple of 12 is the multiple of 1, 12 is the multiple of 2, 12 is the multiple of 3, 12. So this 12 is the multiple. Multiple. So whenever we come across the definition part, so this is if a number is divided by another number exactly without leaving any non-zero remainder, then the number which divides is called a factor of the number, and the number that has been divided. So over here the factors are 1, 2 for the 12, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And over here, and the number that has been divided is known as the multiple of the number. Multiple of the number. Right? So with this thing, you will be able to answer any question with this perspective of. Now we'll be moving further in the remainder theorem and the factor theorem. Now let's solve one question. That if the equation is, or the polynomial is, that g of x is equals to 4x square plus 3x plus 1, and we should find out the remainder. Of this g of x, where x is equals to we can write where p of x is equals to x minus 1. P of x is equals to x minus 1. Now for the p of x is equals to x minus 1, we need to find the remainder. Now for this, obviously, what will be the resultant outcome? For this, first of all, we need to solve the p of x. Now what do we need to do is x is minus 1 is equals to 0. So x is equals to 1. Now the value of x1 we got for this one, which is the remainder. Now we need to put the value of x over in this g of x equation. Now let's solve this. So 4 of 1 square plus 3 of 1 plus 1. So 4 into 1, 4 plus 3 plus 1, which is 7, 8. That means for x minus 1, the remainder, that means if you will divide this 4x square plus x, 3x plus 1 divided by x minus 1, you will get the remainder, which will be 8, which will be 8. For whenever if x of 1, x minus 1 is a factor of this, whenever you will divide, you will get the answer which is 8. Right? So this is how, if you want to solve this, I can solve it with the division method also. So let's verify it. So whenever we'll divide this thing, so see, x 4x square plus 3x plus 1, and this is x minus 1. Now you might be knowing how to do the division. If you don't know, it's okay. See, if you will divide 4x square with x, what will be the value you will be getting? What is this? So if you will be dividing, first of all, we need to take this first term and this first term, and we need to do 4x square divided by x. If you will be dividing this thing, the answer will be 4x, right? 4x. You need to write this 4x over here. So now that means 4x into x is 4x square. And then you need to multiply 4x into minus 1, which is nothing but minus 4x. Minus 4x. Now over here, you need to change the sign. So minus, and this minus is there, so this one will be plus. So cut, and this one would be 7x plus 1. Right? Now, with which number you should divide 7x with x so that you will be able to solve it properly. So with 7, right? So what I will be doing is plus 7. So over here, 7 into x is 7x, and 7 into minus 1 would be minus 7. So now the sign change. This is minus, this would be plus. 7x cancel, and you are left with 8. You are left with 8. So over here, these are the few things you might be getting, that 4x square plus 3x plus 1 is nothing but it is a dividend. And this is divisor. This is quotient. And this one will be the remainder. We did with the long division method and as well as by value putting method. So this is what the remainder theorem will be, where you need to put the value of x in the polynomial, and then whatever the outcome you are getting, if you are getting non-zero value, that is known as the remainder theorem. And if you are getting x, if the value you are getting as 0, then it will be known as the factor theorem, because factor is what? That if the remainder is only, if it is completely divided, then only it is a factor. Otherwise, it's not a factor, it is a remainder. Now let's try one more example and you will get much more clarification. Question is, x to the power of 4, we need to find the remainder. Find the remainder or remainder for find the remainder for x to the power of 4 minus 3x square plus 2x plus 1. So divided by x minus 2. Now, if we are dividing this polynomial with x minus 2, so first of all, we need to equate this with 0. X minus 2 is equals to 0. So x is equals to 2. Now we need to put the value of x, which is 2, in this polynomial. So let's see what will be the remainder. So x, which is 2 to the power of 4 minus 3 to the power 2 to the power of 2 plus 2 into 2 plus 1. So this one would be 2 to the power of 4 is 16 minus 3 into 4 plus 4 plus 1. So 16 minus 12 plus 4 plus 1. So this one would be 16 plus 4 is 20 plus 21, and then you will be having 9. So the remainder which will be there when we are putting x is equals to 2, so remainder we are getting as 9. So this will be the remainder theorem. This will be the remainder theorem. Now coming to the factorization, where we will be reading about the factor theorem. Now the factor theorem, in the factor theorem, we need to equate the value, we need to equate the polynomial with 0. We need to equate the polynomial with 0. If the remainder is 0, then it's a factor. If the remainder is not 0, then it's not a factor, right? So let's solve one question. So the question is, examine whether x plus 1 is a factor of p of x is equals to x cube plus 3x square plus 5x plus 6. Now for examining purpose, first of all, we need to solve x plus 1. Now if I'll taking x is equals to x plus 1 is equals to 0, so x is equals to minus 1. Now the value of x, which is minus 1, I need to put it over here. So minus 1 cube plus 3 of minus 1 square plus 5 of minus 1 plus 6. So this one would be minus 1 plus 3 minus 5 plus 6. So minus 5 minus 1 minus 6 plus 6, so remainder is 3. So the value is not 0, therefore x plus 1 is not a factor. X plus 1 is not a factor, right? So this is how you need to solve. Now students, in the factorization, you can factorize any polynomial with two methods. First one is the factor theorem, and the second one is the middle term splitting theorem. Now students, let's study about the middle term splitting theorem, and this theorem is very important for your examination point of view, as well as in the upcoming 10th grade this theorem will be mostly used. So which is middle term splitting method. Now student, in the middle term splitting method, suppose you are getting one question which is 2x square plus 7x plus 3 is equals to 0. Now what do you mean by middle term splitting method is that you need to split this middle term, which is 7x. You know that every equation, you can do the middle term splitting theorem, or this method can be only used whenever it is a quadratic equation. Now what do you mean by quadratic equation? Quadratic equation is where there is one variable and the degree is 2. So the quadratic equation will be written in the form of ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0. Now you might correlate this thing with this, that it is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c. Now in this, we need to split this bx. Now how are we going to split it? To get this, first of all, we need to multiply multiply the coefficient of x square and the constant. So we need to multiply a into c. So this will be 6. Now we need to check that what are the factors of 6 will be. What are the factors of 6 will be. We need to check the pair, all the pair of factor of 6. Now 6 can be written as 6 into 1, 2 into 3, 3 into 2, right? Now these are the pair of the factors. 6 can be written. Now, in which number it is possible that we can if we'll add or subtract, we should get 7. So in this one only, there is a possibility, which is 6 into 1. So we are getting 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So we need to split this 7x in this form, which is 2x square plus 6x plus x plus 3 is equals to 0. Now we'll take these two terms in a different way. Now first we'll take these two terms. Over here, what is common? What is common? So in this, the common is 2x, right? Over here, common is 2x. Now if we'll take 2x common from these both, then what is left behind? X plus 3, right? X plus 3. The same thing should be written over here. And then you should check out this term. Now this and this is same. So if you will multiply this with 1, so you'll get this. So this is nothing but the factors will be 2x plus 1 and x plus 3. Right? Which is nothing but from this 2x plus 1, you should equate it with 0. So you will get x is equals to minus 1 by 2. And for this one, x plus 3 is equals to 0. So x is equals to minus 3. So this is how we gonna do the middle term splitting method. Or now let's solve one more question with the middle term splitting for the better clarification, right? So suppose, student, there is one more question, which is x square minus 5x plus 6. Now, first of all, we need to multiply the coefficient of x square and the constant. So we should multiply a into c. Now a is coefficient of x square. Coefficient of x square, which is 1, and c is constant, which is 1 into 6. We are getting 6. Now we should check out the pair of 6. So pair will be, what are the factors for this? 1 into 6 you can write, 2 into 3 you can write, and 3 into 2 you can write. Right? Now, if we'll add minus 2 and minus 3, which is this one, this possible result, this is the possible result, or this can be also with possible result. So we'll try this one. So if the middle split this minus 5x in such a way, see, x square minus 2x, because over here this 2, then minus 3x, this 3x plus 6 is equals to 0. So now what is common in these two? Common is x, so we will be left with x minus 2. The same thing will be written over here, x minus 2. X minus 2. Now, if you will divide minus 3x divided by x, what you will get? You will get minus 3, right? And minus 3 into minus 2 is plus 6. So you will be having x minus 3 and x minus 2. X minus 3 and x minus 2. So this will be the final result. Now, so if you will solve this, then you will get x is equals to 3 and 2. If you will equate it with 0. Now, students, coming to the last part of this thing, where now we'll be doing the factorization with of the cubic polynomial, Factorization of cubic factorization of cubic polynomial. Now students, let's take up one example. You have one question which is x cube plus 13x square plus 32x plus 20. Now over here, we should check out the coefficient of this. The coefficient of x cube is 1. So no. So, and the coefficient, so we have the 20. Now we need to check all the possible factors of all the possible factor of 20. Now all the possible factor of 20 will be -1 or plus or -1. It can be plus and -2. It can be plus and -4. It can be plus and -5. It can be plus and -10. It can be plus and -20 as well. Right? Now what are we going to do is, let's put the value of x as -1 at x is equals to -1. Let's see. If you will get 0, then yes, it's a factor. X is equals to -1 is a factor. So let's put the value as x is equals to -1 in this polynomial. Now we'll be getting -1 whole cube plus 13 -1 square plus 32 -1 plus 20. So this will be -1 plus 13 minus 32 plus 20. So upon solving, you will be getting 0. That means at x is equals to -1, this polynomial will become 0. That means x is equals to -1 is a factor. If x is equals to -1 is a factor, that means x plus 1 is equals to 0. That means x plus 1 is a factor. Now, whenever you will be solving x plus 1, whenever you will be solving x plus 1 divided by this, you might get the different answer. So when you want to solve, whenever you want to get the other factors, now there are two methods. So let's see the first method. The first method would be that you can write this this x cube plus 13x square plus 32x plus 20. So this is the question, right? From this one, you got x plus 1 as a factor. So if I'll be writing this thing in this form, that see x cube plus x square plus 12x. Now you will be splitting these two terms in a different way. Now this is x square plus 12x, and this in this way, which is 12x square, and this was 12x plus 20x plus 20. If you will be solving this, then from everywhere you will be getting x plus 1 as factor, right? So you will take x plus 1 common out everywhere. So what you will be getting? X square I'll take common out of this, so you will be getting x plus 1. Again, you will be taking plus. Now this is done. Now you will be seeing this. So again, you will be taking 12x common from this, or 12 common from this. Then you will be getting 12x. So you will be getting x plus 1 again. And over here, if you will be taking plus 20, then again you will be getting x plus 1, right? So common is x plus 1 everywhere, and then finally you will be having x square plus 12x plus 20. Now you are left with this thing. If you won't be able to do this thing, then you can solve this problem with long-term division also. Which is nothing but, if you will be solving this thing, that with x plus 1, and over here this is x cube plus 13x square plus 32x plus 120, or sorry, which is 20, you will end up getting this as quotient. You will end up getting this thing is quotient. Keep me posted and comment on my profile whether you got this thing or not. Now, coming back. Now, when you have this question, which is x square plus 12, x plus 20, x square plus 12, x plus 20. Now, with this thing, again, you need to do the middle term splitting. Now, let's do it. So, x square plus 12x plus 20 is equals to 0. Now, to do the middle term splitting, we need to find the factors for 20. Now, how you can write 20? Either you can write it as 1 into 20, or you can write 2 into 10, or you can write 4 into 5, right? So, if I want 12, this is the possible pair. So, in this thing, what are you going to write? Which is x square plus 10x plus 2x plus 20 is equals to 0. So, this one would be x common, and then x plus 10, and then again you should write this x plus 10, and you should write down 2. So this will be 2x plus 20, right? So you will be getting x plus 2 and x plus 10, and before we already had x plus 1. So for this is the factors for the cubic polynomial. You can try other from your side and do let me know. The question will be y cube minus 4y square plus y plus 6. You can find it by finding first of all the x 6 factors, then you will get one of the factor, then again the middle term splitting. So this is all the factorization of the polynomials with the help of the remainder theorem or the factor theorem. That's all for today's session. I hope you all understood the topic. Keep practicing. I'll see you next time. If you have any doubt, please contact me through my Urban Pro profile. That's all for today's class. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care.